So, what would you say have been like your biggest wins in the crypto space so far?
Um, my biggest win ever was actually on Y2K Finance. So a little bit of background on Y2K Finance. It's a stablecoin options protocol that lets you hedge your stablecoin positioning. Um, but yeah, it basically comes down to binary options. You're either in the money or out the money. And what it does, you can speculate on stable coins or pegged assets to keep their peg. Um, and what I did, the protocol went live in November 2021 or 2022, sorry. Um, and they were releasing a few faults with four stable coins, three stable coins. The first one was USDC, DAI, and oh sorry, four. USDC, DAI, MIM, and USDT. And what I figured, it was like the same week of the FTX and Alameda fallout. Um, and I knew that that MIM, so the stablecoin Magic Internet Money, was backed by a basket of assets, including FTT or FTX's native token. So I knew that like the MIM stablecoin still carried a bad debt after the Terra Luna fallout earlier that year, which actually today is 1 year ago. Um, like they carried a bad debt of around $12 million at the time. So I figured um, MIM must, if MIM is backed by FTT tokens, which it was for 9% of the backing of MIM was consisting of FTT. So I knew that if the FTT token would fall hard enough in price, it would affect the collateral backing of MIM in terms of USD backing. So um, yeah, the on-chain liquidity is also not very uh, big for the FTT token, so you can also not instant dump it on-chain to retrieve your collateral and back it up with USDC or whatsoever. So I knew that, all right, this is it. This is my high conviction bet. So I bet 25% of my portfolio on the DPEG of MIM with a 1 to 8 ratio. So for every ETH that I would put in, I would get 8 ETH back if I would win. So, but this one to me was the obvious play. But the only side note there was that it had to be within the same epoch. The epoch lasted for 1 week. By doing like by spending a lot of time on Y2K Finance and also the research of stablecoin and the UST Degen box back in May and April 2022, I knew how it really worked. So I was like, okay, this is for me obvious. This thing will depeg the one way or the other, but it must be within this epoch. So I betted like 25%. And I figured that it was not only Y2K, on Y2K that I should not only use the MIM stablecoin because I remember that Sam Trabucco posted a tweet about like how they bought all the USDT when it depegged in the Terra fallout. But I didn't know what the exact reasoning was, but I from them just like for them just like buying it and people being um, still like a PTSD traumatized by the FTX by the Terra Luna thing. So I figured that well, if everybody is like, well, this thing is going to zero, FTX, Alameda, they're going to like zero. They probably will drag USDT with it. And I already calculated that well, if I will win by min bet, I probably will also be I'll be playing safe with my gains that I'll be making there instead of like um, winning the 1 on 8. If I would lose the USDT bet, like I would still make a 1 on 3 like net. So still a 300% gains, which was still decent. So I figured, well, let me bet 25% of my uh, portfolio also on USDT, with the thesis being, well, FTX Alameda is just so big. There's always USDT FUD. They also like the Centribuco posted like, yeah, we're like buying a lot of USDT and stuff back in May 2022. So I saw the rippling effect. I was like, okay, this must be going on. I gotta hit this one. And 2 days later, I saw that I first hit like the MIMS DPEG. So that I initially was an 8x overnight. And 2 days later, I saw that like the USDT DPEG'd as well, with some help from Avi Eisenberg actually. He started shorting Alameda's swapped USDT for USDC on chain, and I was monitoring the three CRV pool, which was skewing more and more towards USDT, which would lead eventually to the peg, with a strike rate of 1 to 12. So for every ETH that I put in, I got 12 back. Um, yeah, so that was a really nice. Those these were my biggest wins actually. But by
Nice.
putting
So
in the work,
yeah.
I could make like the high conviction bets.
Yes, I feel like the general theme is having conviction, and that conviction should be backed by solid due diligence, right? So it's how do you know when you're digging deep enough, or which holes to go down, like which rabbit holes to go down, and to really investigate the trades that you're about to make.
Well, it depends for me per case. I don't take too much trades or too much positions. I sometimes have some open positions, or sometimes my research friends tell me like, well, I'm just opening this position or I'm hitting that, and then I'm like, okay, I'll throw in some small funds. But sometimes it's also like whenever you are like diving deep into one play, you just really gotta um, ask yourself, this project is shit unless, and then you really need to convince yourself of why it is good, and by asking it that way or by rephrasing it in that way, that really um, forces you to dive deeper into why it must be good, or um, why it's better than competition, and that eventually forces you to get like an answer on every question you have. So deep enough is relative. It is deep enough until you don't have any questions left anymore, and the people around you to question your thesis also don't have any questions left.
Nice. So it sounds like, just keep asking yourself why or what until there's nothing else to look into.
Exactly. Like it is also like a continuous evaluation. Like if something new comes out, you should evaluate, well, is my previous thesis that I had for this play or for this project, is that still valid? Or has something been changed? Do I need to adjust something? Do I need to hedge something? Or can I just double down? Uh, Something like that. That is something that you should take into account, in my opinion.
Nice. Got it. So yeah, this is definitely something I'm going to take into account for myself too.